Eliminating fraud is more than just a matter of fiscal solvency. It also directly affects the safety and security of American citizens. Much of the fraud is committed by aliens, many of them criminal aliens, and we don't know what they're doing with those stolen funds. In 2023, the Federation of American Immigration Reform, or FAIR, estimated that Medicaid lost approximately $8 billion in funding annually due to fraud attributable to illegal aliens. Similarly, FAIR estimated that the illegal aliens have obtained more than $3 billion in earned income tax credits, with the average filer receiving more than $4,000. Over the last 2 years, $700 million in cash, largely tied to Somali couriers, has been flown out of the Minneapolis Airport via suitcase, according to DHS officials. DHS officials say this cash transfer has been occurring for close to a decade, but the practice has increased in recent years. There are two major problems with this type of large cash transfer. First, we don't know whether the source of this cash is from any federal, state, or local benefit program. And second, the money could be used to fund Somali terrorist organizations like Al-Shabaab. Taking cash out of the country is not necessarily illegal. Any individual departing the country with more than $10,000 in cash must file a customs declaration form about the amount of cash before they take off. The Somali couriers are, in fact, legally declaring the cash they're taking out of the country, ironically. From a fraud and national security perspective, the current customs form is not expansive enough to disclose the source of the cash these couriers are taking out of the country or the ultimate recipient of the cash. Later this week, I plan to introduce a bill to address this issue. This bill, called the Stop Somali Currency Airport Smuggling Through Hawala's Cash Fraud Act, or Stop Somali Cash Fraud Act, will strengthen the customs form for non-citizens only who are taking more than $10,000 in cash out of the country. This bill will require disclosure of whether the cash is from any federal, state, or local government contract or benefit, additional background information on the individual transporting the cash, and additional background information on the ultimate recipient of the cash. Most importantly, it will require filing the customs form 72 hours in advance, which will give Customs and Border Protection more time to fully vet the form before allowing non-citizens to leave the country with suitcases full of cash. In addition to those smuggling money out of the country to potentially supporting terrorists, those who commit fraud while staying in the country also pose a threat. President Trump's team at the White House has uncovered numerous examples of illegal aliens arrested for crimes who've also been receiving Medicaid. These individuals have been arrested for a variety of crimes, ranging from child abuse to domestic battery to burglary to murder. During deliberations for the working family tax cuts, which strengthened guardrails against illegal aliens receiving Medicaid, Democrats repeatedly assured Republicans that illegal aliens are already ineligible for Medicaid and that we are simply barking up the wrong tree. But I'm grateful to President Trump and his team for showing the American people the truth about what is actually happening. Fraud takes many different forms, but the harm to Americans is real and can even have life-threatening consequences. A quick internet search will reveal numerous instances of foreign nationals who've been convicted for fraud, everything from wire fraud, manufacturing and selling counterfeit documents, fraudulently obtaining mass numbers of H-2B visas, and much more. None of these crimes are victimless. Consider the damage done to countless U.S. citizens whose identities are stolen. According to one report, over $19 billion is lost to identity theft annually. And many of the individuals who've been defrauded have to spend their own hard-earned money and countless hours and headaches to fix a mess that came about through no fault of their own. Which brings me to another point. I'd like to remind the public of something that's hardly ever reported on by the mainstream media. Too often we hear that ICE and CBP are arresting people who supposedly have no criminal record. But the fact that an alien has no criminal record, that is, has never been arrested, charged, or convicted, doesn't mean that this individual has not broken the law. Consider what it takes an illegal alien to continue living in the United States, not to mention the fact that entering the country without authorization is a crime. To work, an illegal alien has to obtain some sort of identity document. In many instances, the identity documents are fraudulent or altered documents of real U.S. citizens, and the alien has assumed that person's identity. Stealing a U.S. citizen's identity or Social Security number is a crime, but that isn't where the criminal activity stops. Once an alien has acquired a false identification, how would this person commute to work every day? Often by driving without a license, also a crime in most jurisdictions, or driving without insurance, also likely a crime. Whether someone entered the country illegally or overstayed a visa, there are certainly crimes that all aliens have committed against our immigration laws, even though they may not have yet been caught and the offenses may seem minor. But make no mistake, criminal aliens not only prey on unsuspecting U.S. citizens, but they also prey on their own people, stealing the identities of other aliens lawfully in the United States to stay in the United States, work illegally, or in some instances, just defraud the U.S. government. So what can we do about it? What can Congress, what can the government do about it? First, we can begin by prioritizing thoroughness of security vetting rather than speed and efficiency like the Biden administration did, as they waved hundreds of thousands, even millions of people into the country during the 4 years of the Biden administration without adequate vetting. We can invest in fraud prevention and detection mechanisms that will allow federal, state, and local government agencies to quickly identify those who are attempting to fraud. We can also require agencies to require biometric identification and verify each alien's identity before they may be granted any federal, state, or local public benefit, loan, or grant. Furthermore, we can require automated and recurrent identity verification, random audits, and in-person identity verification for all federal and state programs that provide funds for public services or programs. Finally, one thing I find surprising is that the American citizens in blue and red states are not demanding more accountability for the millions of Americans who've been defrauded. It seems that they are more interested in going out on the street to actively protest against federal law enforcement officers who are not only doing the job they've been sworn to do, but enforcing the laws Congress has passed. It is our responsibility as a U.S. government to protect the American people. It's also our duty to protect the American people and preserve the integrity of our republic. If we fail in those duties, we won't have a country any longer. I look forward to hearing from the witnesses, and I'll yield to